Honestly, you're right on this. Okay. You can't tolerate their intolerance because their intolerance is inherently illogical. Their intolerance is not coming from a place of genuine concern, but pure anger.
In this video, Hasan Piker reacts to clips from his uncle Cenk Uygur attending a recent Turning Point USA conference. To no one's surprise, Hasan Piker is now upset that Cenk Uygur dared to speak with conservatives. With that, let's watch Hasan Piker disown his uncle, Cenk Uygur, for kissing Charlie Kirk's ring.
Honestly, you're right on this. Okay. You can't tolerate their intolerance because their intolerance is inherently illogical. Their intolerance is not coming from a place of genuine concern, but pure anger. And oftentimes, it is a very apt mechanism of distraction and deflection away from the real vectors of harm in contemporary society. It's stupid. This doesn't mean that you should, actively treat anyone and everyone as though they're Charlie Kirk. You know what I mean? Like a professional villain. But it certainly means that stay true to your convictions and try to find areas where you do agree that do not pertain to shitting on trans people or shitting on black people, or you can stay civil, especially when you're having a conversation with, normal conservatives who are victims of propaganda themselves, understanding that they arrived at these positions due to so much social conditioning. Okay. You just said not to compromise. You need to be more careful with your words. Yes. Never compromise on your values. The do you mean? Never compromise on your values and never capitulate the right-wing framing. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that you should also be antagonistic or aggressive to some random conservative person that you met. Okay. I try to play this delicate line fairly well to the best of my ability. You can find similarities, you can find shared interests, you can find areas of civility, you can find areas where you're in agreement. That is how you're supposed to do that. That is actually a very successful way, in my opinion, of actively de-radicalizing people. But the similarities that you find should not be centered around how you also personally think, yeah, some of these trans people are weird and gross. Like creating a permission structure to shit on trans people is...
I don't even know where to start with how comical what I just heard in the last 2 minutes is. The left can't bow down and tolerate the right's intolerance because it comes from real anger. Anyone who ever tells me this guy's smart, I guess he's smart, but his insights are so ridiculously backwards. The right is by far, it's not even close, by far the more tolerant of the two ideologies, because on the right, people are allowed to disagree with one another and have conversations to see where they find common ground. On the left, as everyone watching this knows, if you disagree with 1% of their platform, you are ostracized. It's so funny to even at this point contemplate the idea that the left is tolerant somehow. Any tolerance you see from the left is manufactured. They want you to believe that they are. But again, if you don't agree with them fully, all that love and tolerance is gone. And they won't just ostracize you, they will attack you. And to call Charlie Kirk, of all people on earth, a professional villain, what the heck is going on? Charlie Kirk is a Christian family man who sticks to his values, who always tells the truth even when it's not expedient or convenient. It sounds like what Hasan here wants us to do is tell the truth, but don't tell it all the time. If it's going to hurt somebody's feelings by suggesting a man can't be a woman and a woman can't be a man, then lie about it. Charlie Kirk is a villain. I guess I can't say I'd never thought I'd hear that because I'd expect it from the left, but I'm telling you, everything that I just heard this boner say is completely backwards. Conservatives actually have values. The left stands for absolutely nothing. The right is rooted, I'm not saying everyone, but is at least rooted in Judeo-Christian values. The left is rooted in subjective values, just what they feel is right. And that can change from individual to individual. If this wasn't a commentary channel right now, I'd be speechless. I can't believe how he literally just described the right wing and attributed it to the left. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Is stupid, because all of a sudden now you're just continuously normalizing their attitude. You're giving them additional security in their bigotry rather than try to decouple them away from this bigoted way of understanding the world. Now, of course, Charlie Kirk himself is not, a random conservative guy. He is actively working to create more random conservative guys and doing it fairly successfully. He is a part of a major machine, and his wealth and his prominence in this world relies on him successfully doing so, relies on him actively turning people more conservative.
So you got to know what to convince the American people of and what to hold your ground on. And the number one thing to hold your ground on is constitutional rights. So I'm going to do some...
Like the Second Amendment.
What? You said not to compromise with conservatives is about finding middle ground? No, dude. You completely misunderstand my point, okay? You completely misunderstand my point. What do you mean finding a middle ground? Conservatives say mass deport every single immigrant living on U.S. soil. You say don't mass deport any immigrant living on U.S. soil. Is the middle ground that we just deport, 10 million migrants then? Like, the idea that there is a golden mean in every situation is perhaps one of the most commonly misunderstood positions that people just slap on to every single instance where it doesn't fit, okay? It is so stupid. If the fundamental principles are completely flawed, you can't compromise on that. Okay, no, it's about trying to understand why they think that way. Usually they have misinformation. It's about educating them by finding where they're at.
This dude is everything wrong with politics. He's saying that the conservatives are so extreme that you shouldn't even attempt to find middle ground with them. What is extreme? That we believe in getting married and having a family, that we don't think men are women and women are men, that we think people that broke the law to come into our country and are wreaking havoc on our economy should be sent back to where they came from and come in the right way, and then welcome immigrants into our country, just coming through the front door, not the back door. Everything he's saying and acting like are extreme positions, in my opinion, are the most normal, basic positions that good moral people would have. But at least he's honest how he feels. A lot of the left wing will insinuate that the right wing is racist and all that stuff, but he flat out says that we, I think he said something like demonize trans people or black people. How is the right racist at all at this point? I feel like everyone's woken up to what a lie that's always been. I literally, off the top of my head, cannot think of one thing that would indicate that the Republican Party is racist against any minority. Actually, the only thing that comes to mind is crazy people like him that think somehow voter ID laws are racist. That's one I can think of. But of course, if you just peel back the thinnest layer of that argument, of course they're not racist. And they think so little of black Americans that they think they're dumb and can't go get an ID, which is the most patronizing, insulting thing to a certain race. I don't know how everyone doesn't see that. If you're right wing or consider yourself conservative, don't forget, everybody, Hasan Piker thinks you're bigoted and radical. Isn't it radical to get married and go to church and have kids after you get married and want to be involved in your children's lives if they're going through something at school? Don't you want to protect your children from pornographic books in their school libraries, Don't you want to hold on to the rights that we hold dear, like the Second Amendment? Don't you want to let everyone be able to say whatever they want, regardless of what it is, because we have free speech in this country? All of those things are radical, guys, just so you know. But I'm glad I'm watching this. I'm learning a lot about Hasan Piker here telling me what I really feel, not the way I think I feel. So thank you so much. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
What do you mean? Okay, you can't say it's about finding middle ground. Ironic, because you just started this process by saying you need to be more careful with your words. And then you literally went into a position that is entirely different than this. Maybe you should be more careful with your words, chatter. The do you mean? You say it's about finding middle ground. No, it's about trying to understand why they think that way. Usually they have misinformation. It's about educating them by finding where they're at. Yeah, I don't disagree with this. And not only do I not disagree with this is something that I believe personally as well. I know where a lot of that that false belief comes from. I just described it. If you were listening to my words, you would have understood it. I said it comes from social conditioning. But it's not about finding middle ground. It's about finding common ground. And it's about reorienting people's anger to the appropriate vectors of pain. It's about recognizing where that harm comes from and then saying, I see you, I feel you, and I know exactly where it's coming from. It's not like one of the easiest ways to kind of just judo your way out of this argument whenever someone is being like hyper transphobic is telling them like, it's not, your manager is not a trans person. Okay. BlackRock buying out the remainder of the available housing inventory is not conducted at the behest of big trans. It's not a trans person. It's not an undocumented migrant that's like your landlord that is causing you pain in your life. It's not an undocumented migrant that's your manager, okay? And even if they were, they're not doing that because they're an undocumented migrant or trans. They're doing that because that's the position that they have arrived at in society. Society has normalized this kind of infliction of pain. Yeah. People be like, I'm so mad that eggs are $8. And
if you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
And it's like, yeah, it's because of trans people, It's the corporate structure. It's the fact that American Congress is bought and sold by corporations.
To hold your ground on is constitutional rights. So I'm going to do some...
Like the Second Amendment.
I mean, here, hit him back with the Second Amendment is a false interpretation. The modern understanding of the Second Amendment is completely at odds with the way that it was historically interpreted. Go ahead. Don't let him get away with that. Come on. Shaky Gurga. Why is he turning to a Alan Combs in the Hannity and Combs structure here? I just, it hurts my feelings to see my uncle behave like this.
Oh my God. We don't understand that the Second Amendment is misinterpreted in modern day. Good Lord, this guy's bad. His takes are so bad. Why is he so obsessed with the trans community? Good Lord. Here, let me break it down for you there, Hasan Abi. We don't want people telling our kids they can be whatever gender they want. We don't want people giving our kids hormones and puberty blockers and cutting off their genitals. I'll speak for myself, but I think there are a lot of conservatives that agree with me. If you are over 18 and you want to live your life as the opposite gender, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. Just don't force us, meaning anyone else, not conservative, not liberal, anyone, to participate in your delusion. Just live your life. Don't worry about us. We won't worry about you. I will speak for myself. I obviously identify as conservative, and I don't have an ounce of hate in my heart for anybody. The left wing, even Hasan, even though I think he is insanely dumb here, and I mean, the things he's saying are mind-boggling to me. I don't have hatred for anybody, certainly for immutable characteristics. I don't have hatred for a trans person. But we want to hear from you. I'm just going to throw out a broad question. What do you think of this rant we just heard from Hasan? His points of view are like a caricature of the extreme left to me. Like, everything he said is embodying everything that's wrong with the left wing. He takes every extreme position, and then, you know, he'd be the one to call the right wing extreme for not wanting to kill babies. Anyway, what do you think of what he just said? I think he is insane, and I don't know where he got this ridiculous ideology from. He certainly enjoyed all of the wonderful things that are offered in the United States, and I'm sure he's worked hard, and he's built up a great life for himself and wealth, probably wealth for future generations. He sure doesn't seem appreciative about it. But that's it for this video. As always, we really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.